Beneath the solid ground you walk on, a restless dance is always unfolding. Atoms shimmer with possibility, and their particles hum like sleeping fireflies. In this stillness, a hidden rhythm pulses, one your body is quietly made of. Tonight, you begin your journey into this unseen, magical realm of the quantum. Close your eyes, let your breath soften, your thoughts slow. Feel the weight of your body gently settle into the bed, like sediment sinking into a quiet riverbed. Everything around you seems still, your room, the night air, the ground beneath. Your feet, but if you could shrink down, far beneath your skin, beyond cells and molecules, past atoms and nuclei, you would find a world that never truly sleeps. This is the quantum world, a place too small to see, too strange to believe, yet as real as the bones in your body. It is not a world of certainty, but of shimmer. Particles flicker in and out, of being like fireflies in a meadow just beyond your reach. They hum with energy, even in silence. They move without direction, yet follow patterns deeper than thought. You, too, are part of this dance. Every atom in your body, every proton and electron, plays by these quantum rules. The atoms in your bones are like tiny solar systems, but even smaller, their centers dense and heavy, their edges blurred and strange, and between them, nothing. Not silence, but space. Space not as a void, but as a stage. The particles that make up everything, from stars to spoons to your fingertips, are performers in a restless, invisible ballet. They spin, they vibrate, they leap without moving. In this microscopic world, motion and stillness become the same thing, depending on how you look. The ground beneath your bed feels solid, firm, but press in deeper and you would fall. Fall through layers of space inside every atom. Fall into something that feels like absence, but holds all the potential of presence. The quantum world does not follow the rules we expect. Here, particles can exist in multiple states, can vanish and return, can act as waves and points at once. It is not madness, it is mystery, and it is everywhere. Even as you drift closer to sleep, this hidden world continues its quiet hum. A hum not of noise, but of motion, so small, so fast, so subtle, we never feel it, but it never ceases. It is what gives the universe its warmth, its spark, its possibility. The air you breathe, the sheets against your skin, even your own dreaming mind, all of it pulses with this invisible, eternal energy. Scientists call this place the quantum realm, but you don't need a lab or microscope to touch it. It is inside you, it is you. You are made of atoms, and atoms are made of this, a world beneath the world. Imagine standing on a calm lake. The surface looks flat, still, but beneath, fish dart, plants sway, bubbles rise from some unknown depth. That is how the quantum world lives beneath your ordinary days. Still above, infinite below, there is comfort in knowing that nothing is truly still. Even when you feel frozen, when time seems slow, when everything feels paused, the world within you dances on, and this dance is not random. It is deeply ordered, like music we haven't yet learned to hear. A song so quiet, it becomes a silence that sings as your body grows heavier on the mattress, as your limbs soften and thoughts stretch like long shadows. Picture yourself becoming lighter, too. So light, in fact, that you could shrink down, not in body, but in awareness. You float past skin, past cells, past molecules, until you're no bigger than a proton. And here you see it, the blur of possibility, the flicker of being. particles not locked into place, but exploring many paths at once. Walls mean nothing here. Time folds, then unfolds again. The world behaves like a dream that obeys strange, soft rules. You are safe in this dream. There is no chaos here, only curiosity. The particles are not lost. They are simply trying everything, all at once. Like thoughts wandering just before sleep, before choosing which one to follow into a dream. And as you hover in this space, in this stillness, in this softness, you begin to wonder, if you are made of atoms, and atoms are mostly space, then what holds you together? What keeps your hands, your thoughts, your voice from slipping apart? That is the mystery we now follow, a question that leads, like starlight on water, to the truth that you are mostly empty space. Place your hand gently on your chest. Feel the warmth, the rise and fall of breath. It feels real, solid, grounded, and yet the truth waiting beneath your skin is stranger than it seems. You are touching something that, in the deepest sense, is mostly empty dot. Not empty in the way a glass is when it's drained, but empty like the space between stars. Vast, quiet, structured. Atoms make up your body, trillions upon trillions of them, but each one is not a dense ball of matter, no. Each atom is like a tiny solar system. At the center, a dense nucleus, small, heavy, unmoving. Around it, electrons shimmer in a fuzzy cloud, never in just one place, never quite still, between them, almost nothing. If an atom were the size of a cathedral, the nucleus would be a grain of sand floating at the center. The rest, the grand arches, the quiet aisles, the vaulted ceiling would be empty space. And yet, this is what you are made of. Not stone, not steel, but a delicate framework of emptiness and energy. Your bones, your muscles, your heart, all built on this scaffold of space. The firmness you feel is not from solidness, but from forces. Electromagnetic fields press back. When you touch something, they keep your hand from falling through your chest, even though, in truth, there is more nothingness than matter between your fingers and ribs. You are a lattice of possibility, a floating architecture where particles hum and space is not hollow, but holy. Imagine looking at yourself through a microscope that could peer past molecules, past atoms, past even the nucleus. You'd see flickers, blurs, waves, and all of it suspended in a vast, invisible ocean of space. Still you hold shape. Still you breathe and think and dream, because even space, when shaped by quantum forces, becomes form. Like wind tracing patterns in sand, like water holding the curve of a cup. This emptiness inside you is not absence. It is the stage where life unfolds, the quiet between heartbeats, the silence between thoughts, the canvas waiting for the paint, and so you are both something and nothing, matter and the spaces between it, a being built of what cannot quite be touched. Let this truth soothe you. You do not need to be dense to be strong. You do not need to be filled to be whole. Just as galaxies swirl through empty space, so do your thoughts move through the room of your mind. And just as the universe spins endlessly outward, so does the space within you hold more than you can see. It holds your memories, your laughter, your pain, your breath, your future, the space within. Your atoms allows them to bond, to share, to build. It allows electrons to leap, for molecules to twist and whisper to one another. Without the emptiness, there could be no connection, no room to grow, no space to stretch into something new. So as you drift deeper into rest, Imagine yourself expanding gently into the truth of your own emptiness. You are not a statue. You are a symphony, and every note needs space between sounds. Your body, like the universe, is not solid. It is spacious, rhythmic, alive, and inside that space, stranger things await, like particles that can be in two places at once, like motion that defies direction, like a particle that slips through a wall, not around it, but through. Now that you know space is not truly empty, and your body is built on a lattice of shimmering gaps, you are ready to meet something even stranger, something that doesn't just exist in space, but spreads across it. Imagine a single particle, smaller than dust, smaller than a cell, smaller than the smallest thing you've ever imagined. This particle is not a dot. It is not a pebble you could hold or trap. It is more like a question than an answer, a soft suggestion of presence, a flicker, a shimmer, a maybe. You watch it closely and it seems to behave. You measure it and there it is. But the moment you look away, it becomes uncertain again. This is the first puzzle of the quantum world. A particle does not always stay in one place. Sometimes it behaves like a wave, stretching across space like a ripple on a pond, and that ripple doesn't exist in one spot. It exists in many, like a thought that lives in more than one mind, like a shadow that touches more than one wall. The particle spreads out softly into possibility. You may wonder, how can one thing be in two places at once? But in this world, place is not always a fixed point. It is a cloud of chance, a map of maybes. Let's imagine a gentle experiment, a single particle, and two narrow slits in a wall. You shine the particle toward the slits, one tiny piece at a time. If the particle were just a speck, it would pass through one slit or the other, like a marble. But what you see instead is a pattern that belongs to waves, the kind of pattern that only appears when something passes through both slits at once and interferes with itself, like ripples overlapping in water. So the particle, this quiet traveler, goes through both doors at once. It is here and there, not one after the other, but at the same time, it does not decide which path to take until you look, until you measure, until you ask, and when you do, when you finally look, it chooses a side, as if it had always been there. But you know better. You know it wasn't just here. It was both. It was neither. It was in between. Particles in. The quantum world don't like to be pinned down. They prefer to live in superposition, a word that means many states at once. Not because they are indecisive, but because reality, at this level, is more like a song than a structure. A song can be many notes, many harmonies. It is not just one sound, but all the possibilities blended together until someone presses play, and you are built from these particles, from these whispers of maybe, your thoughts, your heartbeat, your very breath, all made possible by this quiet, floating uncertainty. You may feel solid, certain, still, but beneath it, your atoms are flickering with possibility. They stretch across space in their own silent ways, waiting to settle only when the world watches. And perhaps you feel like that sometimes too, not here, not there, in between, like your mind is in two places, like your heart is split, like you are many versions of yourself, waiting to know which one is real. And maybe that's okay. Maybe the quantum world is not so different from your own. Where you are is not always where you stay. Who you are is not always just one thing. You are a wave, and a point. A being that can exist in more than one place and carry more than one truth. As you drift deeper, your thoughts stretch too. One here, one there, a ripple of dreams, not quite settled. But then, what happens when a particle meets a wall it shouldn't be able to cross? And yet somehow it does. You followed a particle as it flickers through space. Sometimes here, sometimes there, a soft question with no clear answer. But what happens when this wandering particle meets a barrier? A wall not made of brick or stone, but of energy, too steep to climb. In the world, you know, a ball thrown at a wall bounces back. It hits, it stops, it doesn't pass through. But in the quantum world, walls are not always so certain. Imagine a smooth hill of energy. A particle approaches it, small, quiet, and trembling with potential. It shouldn't have enough energy to climb over. It should stop, it should bounce. But sometimes, it does sometimes. Without warning or force, it vanishes from one side, off the wall, and reappears on the other dot. No climb, no crash, no break. This is quantum tunneling. It is not a brute force breakthrough. It is a gentle slip, as if the particle remembers how to be everywhere, and uses that memory to bypass the impossible. You might imagine it like a ghost passing through a locked door. But it's not magic, it's math. It's the strange shape of possibility, you see. In the quantum world, a particle is not only a point, it is also a wave. And waves stretch. They reach through. When a wave reaches a wall, it doesn't stop abruptly. It fades, it decays. But sometimes, it leaks through just enough. And if there's still something left on the other side, something tiny, something probable, then the particle might reform itself. There, like mist, condensing after passing through fog, you are watching the impossible, made real by uncertainty. Quantum tunneling is not about breaking the rules. It is about the rules being softer than they seem, less like stone and more like silk. This strange trick of nature isn't rare. It happens all the time. In stars, in cells, in machines, in you, when protons in the heart of the sun need to fuse. Together, they face a repelling force, a wall of electric energy. They don't have enough strength to overcome it. But sometimes, quantum tunneling lets them slip past. And when they do, fusion begins. Light is born. Stars shine. Without tunneling, there would be no sunrise. No warm light brushing your skin. No life on Earth. Tunneling also whispers in the tiniest parts of your body. Electrons move through enzymes and molecules in ways that seem forbidden. They tunnel, leaping through energy barriers too high to cross. And still, they arrive. They act. They change everything. In the electronics you use each day, your phone, your computer, your glowing screen, quantum tunneling is woven into their smallest parts. Tiny circuits so small that electrons can't help but tunnel across. It is how the future was built, by particles quietly ignoring the barriers in their way. And so you see, the wall is not always the end. Sometimes the wall is only a pause, a boundary that says you shouldn't pass, but forgets that in the quantum world, should is only a suggestion. You have walls too, the kind made of fear, of doubt, of memory, of what others said you couldn't do, but perhaps, in some quiet part of you, there's a shimmer of potential, a part that slips past the doubt without even realizing it. Just like the particle, you are more than one thing, more than one path, more than the rules you've been told. Sometimes, when you feel stuck, when the wall looks too high, remember this. Particles tunnel, and so might you. The universe is not made of rigid fences, but of gentle maybes, of soft crossings. And when you close your eyes, when you let go of needing to understand, you begin to feel the quiet truth of it. What you see as impossible might simply be another way through. No force, no noise, just a gentle slip from one side to the next dot. And just as you begin to believe that even walls can be crossed, you start to wonder, what kind of world allows this? What kind of reality bends but never breaks? By now, you've seen the shimmer, a particle spreading across space like a sigh, slipping through a wall that should have stopped it. And you may be wondering, how can reality allow such softness? You live in a world of rules. A dropped cup falls, a stone thrown arcs and lands. Time flows forward. Cause leads to effect. These rules are comforting. They give structure to your days, predictability to your steps, security to your sleep. But beneath this steady surface, in the world of the very small, the rules change. Not because they are broken, but because they are different. More like suggestions than commands. More like poetry than prose. Here, in the quantum realm, nothing is guaranteed. Everything is possibility, weighed by chance, guided by rhythm, not by force. A particle does not say, I will be here. It says, I might be here, and I might be there, and I might not be at all. Its path is not a line, but a mist, a cloud of options. It doesn't pick one until you ask it to. This is probability, not the randomness of chaos, but the pattern of perhaps. Picture a field of tall grass on a still morning. A breeze moves through, and each blade bends in its own way. Some this direction, some that. The wind doesn't force them, it nudges. It offers motion. The quantum world works like that. Tunneling happens not because a particle wants to cross the wall, but because there's a chance, a small, precise, beautiful chance that it can dot the particle doesn't make a decision. It follows the curve of possibility. It rides the quiet math of maybes. And sometimes that path leads through the wall. This is not cheating. This is how reality behaves when you look closely enough. It doesn't break. It bends. The equations that govern quantum life are written in waves. Not sharp commands, but soft shapes. They show us not where something is, but where it might be. They offer likelihood, not location. It is a world without absolutes. And yet, everything you know is built from it. You are built from it. You are made of particles that do not ask permission to be strange. They just are, and somehow from that strangeness you emerge, whole, breathing, thinking. The rules you trust, gravity, time, mass, they grow from this gentle uncertainty, like trees growing from water and light. The quantum world is the soil of every solid thing. And what a soft soil it is. Not fragile, but forgiving. Not unstable, but flowing. If classical physics is a staircase, quantum physics is a stream. Still moving forward, but curving, meandering, sometimes circling. Back before it continues. And just like a stream, it carves the world. This is what allows tunneling. This is what lets particles explore forbidden ground, not by force, but by the soft permission of probability. This softness is not weakness, it is openness, it is flexibility. It is the willingness of the universe to contain more than one truth at once, and isn't that comforting? That the laws beneath all things are not rigid cages, but gentle hands. That you do not have to know exactly where you're going to still arrive. That even when the path seems blocked, There may be another way through, as you lie still, wrapped in blankets and night. Remember this: you are made of maybe. You are made of softness, of shimmering possibilities, of quiet rules that bend to let you grow. And just when you think you've grasped how deep this softness goes, you look to the sky and realize that without this gentle bending, the stars themselves would not shine. Look up, even now. Behind your closed eyes, you know the stars are there, scattered across the night like sparks frozen mid-flight. They seem so steady, so eternal, but in truth, they are delicate engines fueled by an invisible act of defiance. At the heart of each star, far beneath the surface glow, is a dense, burning core. Here, temperatures soar, pressure mounts, protons crowd together, each one a tiny packet of charge, buzzing with urgency. But protons are stubborn. They repel each other like magnets flipped the wrong way. Both positive, both pushing back. They shouldn't come close. They shouldn't combine, and yet they do. This is the mystery. This is the miracle. They tunneled it, despite the wall of electric resistance between them. Protons sometimes slip through, not by force, not by smashing, but by softness. They tunnel, passing through barriers they have no right to cross. And when they do, they meet. They fuse, and fusion is fire. This is what fuels the stars. Not brute strength, but quantum permission. The universe finds a way, not through muscle, but through maybe, you see. At the temperatures inside stars, classical physics says, fusion shouldn't happen. It's not hot enough, not fast enough. Protons shouldn't collide, but the quantum world disagrees. Because even in the belly of a star, particles remember their wave nature. They blur, they stretch, and sometimes their blurred edges meet in places their centers cannot. The result, a fusion reaction. Light, heat, the birth of a photon. Energy radiates outward, layer by layer, until it reaches the surface and spills into space. Some of that light reaches you. It warms your skin, feeds your plants, powers the life that blooms and breathes. Without tunneling, this wouldn't be no starlight, no sunlight, no life. The night sky would be black, not because stars had died, but because they had never truly begun. Without this strange bending of rules, without this whisper of possibility, the universe would be quiet. You lying in your bed, wrapped in comfort, held by gravity, fed by food, grown under sunlight, owe your life to quantum tunneling. 2. Protons that dared to pass through what should have stopped them. It's humbling that such a small act in such a distant place could shape everything you know. And tunneling doesn't just begin the life of a star, it keeps it going. For billions of years, the core continues to hum, allowing this soft crossing again and again, until finally, when fuel runs low, the star grows quiet. Its light dims, its body collapses or expands, depending on its size. But even in death, its tunneling work remains. The atoms forged in its fire are scattered across the cosmos. Carbon, oxygen, iron, all the building blocks of you. You are, in every real sense, a child of starlight. A being born from particles that tunneled long before Earth was dust. And so, the next time you feel small, remember this. Your body is made from the ashes of fusion, from the generosity of tunneling, from the strange, soft persistence of light through walls. You carry stars within you, not as a metaphor, but as a memory, and tunneling continues still, not just in stars above, but in the life within you. in the cells of your body, in the whispers between molecules, in the electric dance inside your thoughts. But how can something so cosmic happen so quietly inside you? That's where we're going next, to the place where tunneling moves through your brain and your breath. Now close your eyes again, not to block the world, but to let another world rise within. You've journeyed through stars, through impossible walls, through waves of chance. But tonight you come home to your own body, to the quiet landscape of your cells, your breath, your hidden depths, and here, tunneling lives again, not in the furnace of a star, but in the cool precision of your biology. Not in glowing constellations, but in the twining spiral of your DNA, within your body, so familiar, so solid, quantum particles whisper across vast molecular distances. They cross boundaries too steep, too far, too unlikely, and yet they do every second, inside every cell. Electrons leap where they shouldn't. These aren't leaps in the way we walk or run. They are transitions, tiny, astonishing, reappearances. An electron begins on one molecule and ends up on another. Without passing through the space between, it doesn't travel the gap. It tunnels through it. Imagine two stepping stones across a stream too far for a foot to reach. Yet somehow a traveler appears on the other side, dry, untouched, as if the space between had dissolved. This is how life works at the smallest scale in your mitochondria, the powerhouses of your cells. Electrons tunnel to trigger reactions that produce energy. Without those reactions, your muscles couldn't move, your heart couldn't beat, your eyes couldn't close in sleep. Life isn't just chemistry, it's possibility stacked quietly beneath every breath. And your brain, oh your brain, is a garden of this unseen activity. Neurons speak to one another through complex biochemical messengers. But deep within those processes, quantum effects may be stirring, still debated, still studied, but the possibility remains that tunneling helps guide the flow of thought in the folds of your grey matter. In the silence between impulses, a quantum flicker may decide what signal fires. You are not just thought, you are possibility in motion now. Drift deeper still to your genes, to the language of your body, written in 4 simple letters, A, T, G, and C, adenine, thymine, guanine, cytosine. They pair up, wind together, and carry the code of life. But even here, deep in your genetic instructions, tunneling plays a part in the pairing of those letters, in the copying of DNA protons. The tiny hearts of hydrogen atoms sometimes tunnel across the divide. They move from one base to another, not by force, but by slipping through what should be solid. This can lead to mutations, small shifts in the genetic story. Some are harmless, some are powerful. All are reminders that even the code of life has softness at its edges. Tunneling, here, is not just a scientific fact. It is a gesture, a nod to the flexibility of life itself. A molecule says, I shouldn't change, and yet it does, because deep down, change is built into the blueprint. And so, your very existence, your heartbeat, your memory, your unique unfolding, owes a debt to quantum rebellion, to particles that slip through barriers, not by defying the rules, but by revealing their quiet compassion. You are not a machine. You are a dance, a symphony of particles leaping in silence, reacting in invisible leaps. You carry within you the same tunneling that fuels stars, but now made intimate, now made flesh, now made thought. It may be strange to think that you are Alive not in spite of the improbable, but because of it. But that's the truth. The impossible is part of your breath. It rests in your cells. It fuels your dreams. You are not held together by force alone. You are shaped by the soft insistence that what seems impassable may simply be an invitation to reappear on the other side. As you lay still now, blanketed in night, feel this mystery settle inside you. Every cell, every spark of thought is touched by the unseen. You are the result of leaps no eye can see, bridges no tool can measure. You are woven from the quiet yes of tunneling particles, and this changes how you see the world. It means your limits may not be so fixed, that what feels like an end might only be a transition, a doorway that dissolves when you step toward it. And perhaps, when we try to understand these leaps, when we search for answers to how tunneling works and why it happens, we find something unexpected, a deeper truth hiding in the math, in the probabilities, in the gentle randomness at the heart of it all. Because next, we enter the mystery of the quantum dice roll. Now that you've followed tunneling into your cells, into your thoughts, into the spiral of your DNA, you may be wondering, why does it happen at all? Why do particles slip through walls? Why do they vanish here and reappear there, as if space were only suggestion? The answer lies in something even stranger, something so quiet and fundamental that it shapes the entire quantum world. Chance, not the kind you find in a coin toss or a game of luck, but a softer kind, woven into the fabric of reality. At the quantum level, particles don't move with certainty. They do not follow straight paths or obey fixed destinies. Instead, they explore, they drift. They listen to probability like a melody guiding their motion. Imagine you were standing at a fork in a path. One trail winds to the left, another to the right. In the world you know, you choose one, you walk it, you arrive. But a quantum particle does not pick. It walks both. It takes every route at once, each weighted by how likely it is. It's as though the universe rolls invisible dice for every motion, every interaction, every leap. And this roll doesn't choose only one outcome. It keeps all possibilities alive, until the very last moment. Tunneling is born from this softness, from the quiet weight of unlikely paths. Even when the chance of passing through a wall is tiny, the universe doesn't say no. It says, yes, sometimes. The equations of quantum physics don't give answers, they give probabilities. They offer the shape of chance, the curve of possibility. They say, this might happen, and sometimes that's enough. You might wonder, isn't that just chaos? Isn't it terrifying to think that everything rests on chance? But listen more closely. This isn't chaos. This is harmony written in an unfamiliar key. It's not disorder, it's dance. Particles don't leap at random. They respond to hidden patterns, to the soft music of mathematics, to the rhythms that echo through every atom of your body. Just as a flock of birds moves in patterns that look random but are deeply connected, so too do particles explore all their options together, in tune. They don't make decisions, they don't have minds, but they follow a structure more elegant than choice. It's like watching a river split into 1,000 tiny streams, each one flowing forward, most fading, one eventually becoming the current you see. That is tunneling. That is the quantum dice roll. It doesn't mean nothing matters. It means everything contains possibility. The fact that a particle can tunnel means the universe allows for surprise. It leaves room for the improbable. It writes its story with punctuation marks you don't expect. And you, as a being made of these particles, carry this randomness in you too. Not wild randomness, but quiet openness. There is room in you for change, room for new paths, room for softness, even in your most solid beliefs. Your body lives on a foundation of chance. Your thoughts drift through fields of possibility, and yet you are whole. You are steady. You are real. You are not built in spite of uncertainty. You are built with it. As you rest now, as your breath rises and falls, let that idea settle beside you. You are the outcome of 1,000,000 dice rolls. Each breath, each cell, each heartbeat, a soft result of quantum rhythm. And just as particles sometimes appear on the far side of a wall, against all odds, you too have emerged through barriers you weren't meant to pass. Because chance, in the right hands, can become art. Now listen. Not with ears, but with quiet attention. Beneath your resting body, the particles still move, still roll, still whisper. And some of them tunnel, crossing into the next state, the next breath, the next unfolding. And that unfolding is building something, not just life, but technology, tools, bridges of electrons moving through circuits smaller than sight. And so, the same softness that lights stars and shapes your thoughts now flows into machines that hum with quantum whispers. You've followed tunneling from stars to cells, from the randomness of chance to the quiet unfolding of life. Now, the journey arrives at something both ancient and new, the world you've built with your hands. Your ideas, your need to connect. Technology.in. Every device you touch, your phone, your computer, your clock that glows in the dark. There are tiny architectures smaller than sight and faster than thought. Circuits, transistors, semiconductors, the bones of modern life. And inside these, quantum tunneling hums. You can't hear it, but it's there. Each time your finger brushes glass and a light responds. Each time you open an app, send a message. Stream a song, particles are tunneling. Electrons, the same quiet travelers you've met before, move through barriers so thin they don't need to break them. They simply disappear and reappear on the other side. In classical electronics, a transistor acts like a gate open or closed. But as we build them smaller and smaller, as we shrink our tools to the nanoscale, those gates no longer stop particles at this tiny size. Walls become thin enough for tunneling to occur naturally. Electrons don't wait, they tunnel. This is both a gift and a challenge. Tunneling allows us to build ultra-fast memory, smaller processors, quantum bits. But it also means we're working with a world we can no longer fully control with classical tools. We must listen to the quantum now. We must build with the maybe. That's what quantum engineers do. They don't just design hardware, they design possibility. They create spaces where electrons might move, might react, might appear. A kind of architectural poetry, written in probability, sculpted from chance. And still it works, because tunneling is not chaos. It is consistent, predictable in its unpredictability, repeatable in its randomness. This is how flash memory stores your photos, how some solar cells harvest light, how quantum dots glow in your TV screen. In each case, a particle crosses a boundary, not through brute force, but through softness, through the echo of the wave it might be. The more we understand tunneling, the more we begin to shape it. We no longer simply watch it happen. We guide it. We build quantum tunneling diodes, devices that use this effect to send current in just one direction. We design scanning tunneling microscopes, tools that use the tunneling of electrons. to image individual atoms, revealing shapes too small for light to touch. We even use it to build the first steps of quantum computers, machines not of ones and zeros, but of superpositions and tunneling logic. In this new frontier, we're not asking particles to behave. We're inviting them to explore, to tunnel, to flicker, to become tools of thought and memory and future. And in this strange, wondrous leap, the line between science and magic grows thin. Your world, the one filled with music, maps, calls, messages, dreams pressed into glowing glass, exists because somewhere an electron slipped through a wall it wasn't supposed to pass. And so, the quantum world has become our companion. It lives not only in stars, not only in the spaces between your cells, but in your pocket, your desk, your palm. The ancient silence of the quantum has become the hum of your devices, and still it remains invisible. You do not feel the particles tunnel, you do not sense the electrons move, but they move for you. They flicker so that your world may glow. You do not need to see this, to be shaped by it. You already are. And as we continue to build, to shrink, to explore, we reach a threshold, a place where particles do not just tunnel for energy or movement, but for meaning, where machines begin, not just to respond, but to think, learn, to remember paths they've never walked. And in that quiet evolution, in that fusion of thought and tunneling, you may start to ask, if technology is made of tunneling particles, and if I am made of them too, where does one end and the other begin? Close your eyes. Feel the stillness settle into your limbs, like dusk folding gently over the land. The room is quiet now, the walls steady, the bed beneath you solid. But you know better. You know now that beneath this calm surface, something strange is always moving. Tunneling, possibility, the soft rebellion of particles that refuse to obey the simple yes or no of space. You are surrounded by walls, the ones you see, and the ones you don't. Walls of thought, walls of fear, walls built from rules you once believed were unbreakable, but the universe has whispered something else to you. It has shown you that a particle can pass through what it should not. That certainty is not a cage, and barriers are not always final. That sometimes the wall is real, and sometimes it's only a question waiting to be asked. And what of you? What are you but a symphony of those same particles, born from starlight, woven with electrons and protons that tunnel, that shimmer, that leap from one side of the unknown to the other? Your body is not a fortress. It is a field open, humming, full of paths and pauses. You are not made of what stays. You are made of what moves. Each breath you take is a gift from tunneling, from particles inside your cells that leap without touching the ground. Each thought you think may ripple from quantum echoes deep in your brain. Each heartbeat carries the rhythm of chance refined into life. You are not separate from this world. You are the proof of it. You are the tunnel and the traveler, the question and the possibility, the soft leap through the barrier, and those walls you've carried, the ones inside, they aren't as solid as they feel. Some may crumble, some may hold, but some will dissolve when you press gently into them. Just like a particle, you don't need to force your way through. You don't need to shatter the rules. You only need to listen for the tiny door that probability leaves. Ajar, maybe there's a conversation you never thought you could have, a step you didn't believe you could take, a dream you buried because the wall around it looked too tall. But maybe now you know something new, that in every wall, there is a chance, however small, that something in you can move through it, not by pushing, not by fighting, but by believing in the softness beneath the surface, in the rules that bend just enough for something impossible to become true. Look around you, even with your eyes closed, the device you hold, the light you once turned off, the stars above, still shining. You are surrounded by things that only exist because tunneling is real. And if tunneling is real, if particles truly pass through what cannot be passed, then maybe the universe is softer than you feared, wiser than you imagined, kinder than it seems. You, the universe, and the wall are not three things. They are one. You are not meant to break the wall. You are meant to understand it, to feel where it gives, where it allows, where it breathes, and when you move forward, slowly, softly, you may find yourself on the other side, not by force, but by grace. So rest now, and carry this knowing into your dreaming, that the universe moves not in rigid lines, but in curved probabilities, that your path is not fixed, but full of shimmering forks, and that somewhere, just beyond the edge of what seems possible, your next moment waits for you. Let yourself drift, not forward, not backward, but inward, into the quiet that now surrounds you, into the hush that hums beneath understanding. You followed particles as they tunneled, watched them blur and reappear, seen them fuel stars. Power your cells, cross boundaries, know I can see. And now you begin to sense something deeper. This isn't just a story of motion, it's a story of connection, because tunneling, for all its strange, invisible leaps, is a thread that links what seems divided, a bridge not of matter, but of maybe, from the heart of a star to the whisper between neurons, from ancient light to digital memory. Quantum tunneling reaches across scale like a breath shared between worlds. It is a reminder that nothing is truly alone, not a proton, not a thought, not you. You may feel small when you look up at the stars, lost in their distance, humbled by their age, but the very process that keeps them burning also stirs inside you, the same leap of chance that powers. Their fusion fuels your breath. You are not a spectator to the cosmos. You are its continuation, its soft echo, and the more closely you look, the more you see. There are no hard edges, no place where one thing ends and another begins. The walls you thought were solid between stars and cells, between physics and biology, between science and wonder, they soften. Everything is folded into everything else. Particles don't just tunnel through matter, they tunnel through meaning, through time, through possibility. The boundaries dissolve, and this dissolution is not erasure, it's revelation. The world is not separate things bumping into each other. It's a web, a whisper, a shimmer, and you are part of that shimmer. You've always been, even before you knew it. Your thoughts, your memories, your quietest questions are shaped by this unseen connection. So many things you thought were yours alone, a fear, a hesitation, a sense of longing, are part of a deeper current, one shared by all things made of particles, made of maybe, made of light. This is not a lonely universe. It is deeply intimate. Each particle exists not as an island, but as a participant. Each event is not isolated, but entangled. And even tunneling, this gentle defiance of space, is less about going somewhere and more about already being there. Because at the deepest level, there is no true separation, only illusion, only delay. When an electron appears on the far side of a barrier, it hasn't traveled. It has simply changed its role in the pattern. And perhaps you, too, are not moving through life. Perhaps you are unfolding into it, not breaking walls, not forcing change, just becoming what was already waiting beneath the surface. And if that's true, then the whisper of tunneling is in your every breath, in your dreams, in your questions, in the moments you feel a shift before you find the reason. That whisper connects you to everything, to the people you love, even when they are far, to the questions you've carried, even when answers are slow, to the child you were, and the future self you will softly become, all of it linked, threaded, tunneling between moments. So rest now, not as an end, but as an opening. There is one more layer to this story, one more place the path leads done. It waits just beyond the next breath, in a world where logic ends and wonder begins again. This is the final breath of the journey, but not its end. Because now, you are not watching the tunneling. You are becoming it. Not as a particle, not as a speck of matter, but as a life, quietly slipping through the walls you thought were permanent all along. You've been tunneling in your own way, through the weight of sadness that didn't seem passable, through the doubt that felt too thick to breathe in, through changes that came like closed doors, cold and final, but still. You found your way through, not by breaking, but by becoming soft enough to pass. This is tunneling, not just what electrons do, but what you do when you keep moving, even in stillness, when you hope, even when you're unsure, when you quietly cross into the next moment, without knowing how. And now, in this quiet space, as sleep folds around you, you realize the story wasn't about particles at all. It was about you. You've been taught to see yourself as separate from the universe, a visitor, a witness. But what if you are the universe, remembering itself? What if every shimmer of quantum motion is also inside you? You are not standing at the edge of a wall. You are made of it, and you are made of what passes through it, in the way your thoughts leap from one feeling to another, in the way your life has curved through unexpected openings, in the way you carry both solidity and space. You tunnel. You do not always understand it. You don't need to. The particles don't understand either. They just move. They just become. So do you, when you forgave, even when the pain remained, when you trusted, even after falling, when you kept dreaming, even when the sky was dark. That was tunneling. And maybe now you feel less alone with the mystery, because you are not a stranger to it. You are it. There is no separation between science and soul, between fact and wonder, between logic and love. The same force that allows a proton to pass through a barrier without force or permission also allows you to grow through what you once believed impossible. What a quiet revolution that is, to know that softness can be stronger than strength, that silence can hold motion, that the most impossible things sometimes just happen, and happen gently. The next time you feel stuck, remember this truth. Even the most unyielding wall may have a shimmer in it, a breath, a maybe. Even when you can't see it, your story continues to tunnel forward through nights, through not yets, through almosts. There will be moments when you look back and realize you passed through something without knowing how. You just did, because you are the tunneling. You are the particle. You are the maybe that became real. So as you lie here now, floating in this warm, weightless place, let that knowing cradle you. You are not stuck. You are shimmering. You are not finished. You are unfolding. You are not separate. You are woven into the same fabric that breathes light into stars, that moves electrons through circuits, that allows thought to become memory and memory to become meaning. Tonight, the universe is not out there. It is here, inside you, beside you, becoming you. And in that stillness, in that final soft breath, you are already on the other side.